Hey, what's up? It's Comic 95 the Savior, and I want to talk to you guys about something that I recently saw in several different places. First off on Instagram, and then I started seeing it on Facebook, and just all over YouTube, on the news, etc. And so if you haven't already seen it, there's been this trend going around on TikTok apparently where young people have decided it's a great idea to do really nasty and sanitary things, and I've already kind of shared my thoughts on this on Facebook, so please follow my, or shall I say like my page on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Comic 95 the Savior. I normally share memes or news articles, and I sometimes give my 2 cents there, or I just share stuff to enlighten you and give you information about Japan from other more knowledgeable people that specifically have blogs or pages that just talk about specific things or cities in Japan. So if you're interested in coming here, I highly suggest following me, kind of get a mix of everything. But off of that, no more inserting my plug. I want to get on subject with the video. Off of that, I couldn't help but notice that, like, I've said this before on a different topic, but every time something happens with Japan, it goes back to the US. So let me explain. It's become a trend on TikTok where people are doing nasty and sanitary things like licking off of soy sauce bottles, or stealing food, like eating food off of plates and touching plates and biting food and putting it back, and just doing weird nasty stuff, which unfortunately other customers have probably eaten off of these plates or used these condiments, etc. And yeah, it's really gross. So this has been going around at lots of different places, specifically Sushigate, which is a chain family restaurant known for a cheap conveyor belt sushi. It's really overhyped by foreigners, including myself. It is cool and fun when you're new to Japan because we don't really have anything like it in the US. So I totally understand it. But for Japanese people, this is not some cool restaurant. It is a cheap place. It is comparable to like going to Denny's or something in the US, if actually cheaper than that. But you get what I'm trying to say. It's like $1.90 per plate, something really cheap, and yeah, nothing fancy. But this place is supposed to be an easy to dine in restaurant, family restaurant, and normally the way that it goes is you grab the plates off of the conveyor belt, and at the end of your stay they tally up how many plates you have, and it determines how much money you pay depending on the restaurant. At some restaurants it has it where you have to actually press and specifically order what food you want to get, and then they tally up your bill based off of what sushi you had ordered that came directly to you. But at a lot of sushi restaurants it's pretty common where it's just a conveyor belt that endlessly goes around and you pick what you want, and there's no ordering of food. The chefs are in the middle and they're literally chopping up and making the sushi right there for you. Depends on the restaurant. I'm probably mixing up different places, but long story short, yeah, everybody was outraged. It was all over the news here, and of course it became an even bigger deal because it got international media attention. And you know how Japan is about that. Anytime that Japan gets attention from the outside world, then even if Japan doesn't really care about something, then they have to act like they do. And I found this really interesting because even though everybody's freaking out over this, not a lot of people freaked out over the incident that happened at Domino's. There was a lot of talk about it, but Domino's made sure they hushed that up real fast. I don't think it made international news, and if it did, I didn't hear anything about it. And I watch and read international news pretty much daily. And yeah, I saw pretty much nothing. In fact, I only knew about the incident that happened at Domino's because I was ordering from Domino's and I saw a really weird message on their website telling me that they had apologized for all of these incidents that had previously happened. Well, apparently one of their employees got this is even scarier, got the bright idea that it would be cool to post a TikTok or Instagram video, or it might have been Twitter, some social media video of himself licking the equipment used to create their chocolate milkshakes. And it really grossed me out because I order their milkshakes all the time. I love them. And I was like, oh, that made me not want to eat here anymore. So, yeah. And they claim, I don't know if they fired the person or not, but yeah, Japan didn't make too big of a deal about it, and I didn't see Domino's saying, Domino's gave their little generic PR message or whatever, but I didn't see them like changing the entire way that they were going to run their restaurants. So big ups to Sushi though. They're claiming that at least for the time being that they are not going to allow people to just grab food off the conveyor belt. They're going to make me have to order the sushi. I don't know how well that's going to go or how long it's going to last. And of course it's a combination of for PR, publicity, and damage control. They want to restore faith in their restaurant, which I don't blame them. Not blaming Sushigate for this, but I will say that what I found interesting was I couldn't help but notice articles like from the BBC, etc., talking about how Japan is known for their cleanliness and Japan is so clean, and oh, we're so shocked. Why would someone want to do this in Japan? They're so perfect. They're so whatever. And I saw my same side of a position of jealousy or whatever. I chose to live in Japan. I don't hate Japan, but I'm annoyed by the fact of 2 things. One, every time that Japan does something bad, wrong, weird, has issue, it immediately gets brought back to the US, where they start comparing it. Well, at least it's not like America, or at least Japan doesn't do this, and pointing fingers at the US. And not just that, people were saying that Japan is starting to act like America because people are doing nasty, dirty stuff to food? What? What does it have to do with the U.S.? Like, where are we involved in this? And then even beyond just, involving the U.S. in that sense, this myth that Japanese people are so clean and care so much about cleanliness is BS. And that Marie Kondo stuff, oh my god, y'all, don't even get me started on that. It's a whole nother video. I promise you, the vast majority of Japanese people here are either hoarders. If they're not a hoarder, they're not a clean person. It's always one or the other. I can literally count on one hand the amount of clean people I have met over the course of being here. Like, legitimately clean people where you go inside the house and I wouldn't say I lick off of their floors, but you're pretty damn close near. You get to doing something like that. Most people here are not very clean. Like, not even where it just looks clean on the outside. I mean, most people are literally hoarding inside of their house. I think that's the real reason why people don't have company. They claim that it's because, it's a personal, private space, or there's not enough room. No. A lot of people got a lot of shit they just don't want you to see. Most people here do not, whether they're male or female, they do not thoroughly clean their homes the way that we do in the U.S. Most people here are living in an environment that we would consider as a hoarder, but it's socially acceptable and pretty much normal here. So yeah, we're not going to get into that part of this video, but I will say, as far as the cleanliness part goes, it's no different than foreigners thinking that Japan is so technologically advanced and it's so futuristic. And I feel like, again, there's a few big reasons why people think this. One, stereotypes. Two, because of looking at places like Tokyo, where it looks super cool and futuristic. And three, a lot of the technology that we use in our day-to-day lives comes from Japanese brands and companies. Whether you play video games or listen to music, etc., a lot of the stuff that we use, electronics, come from, well, Asians. And especially after like World War II, Japan, really played a big role in creating a lot of the stuff that we had, like from TVs to radios, etc., CD players. So I think that a lot of people like envision that Japan is this really futuristic country, and it's like, we still use fucking fax machines here, you guys. We write, in snail mail, etc. And so don't get me wrong, I like these things in one sense. It feels old-fashioned, traditional, slower pace, and I feel like I'm living in the 70s or 60s on one hand. But on the other hand, you also realize that the fun part of writing snail mail becomes problematic when you deal with things like sexism or racism or, prejudice, crap like that. Like, things like that is also comparable to back in the day too. So, you take the, good with the bad with the ugly type thing. And yeah, it just amazes me how ignorant so many people are, that they don't bother to do their own research. And I'm not just talking about watching me or one person that you like on YouTube, because a lot of people do that. And again, I mean no offense, I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I hear this all the time, or people think they're giving me a compliment. But it's like, it is so important that you get your information from more than just one person. And it's not just a matter of listening to different people, because you can listen to 2, 3, 5, 10 people that say the exact same thing, and all 10 of them are wrong. But it's a matter of really thinking about what you're listening to, and also making sure you're getting reliable information. Anybody could jump on YouTube and say, oh my god, Japan is the future. For example, it's really popular to do on TikTok. There's even other black women that do this type of stuff on TikTok and on Instagram, etc. Their goal is to get followers, their goal is to get views. And I'm not going to get into the whole nitty gritty subject of that, but just keeping it real. What is their interest and their reason for giving you the information that they are? And if money is their sole reason for doing it, because let's keep it real, we all get money off this, and that's why I make my videos too. But if their goal is just to get money, just to get views, just to get followers, they're going to keep the information where it's misleading. Because as long as they're being positive and seeming fun and happy, oh my god, Japan's the greatest. You get views, you get likes, you get follows, even from the people whose country you're technically insulting. For example, a lot of Americans are okay with insulting Japan, especially when you're dealing with people that hate America so much, and they want to come to Japan, and they dream of running away with their Asian, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever. That's their dream, their fantasy. So those type of people do not mind you crapping on the U.S., to uplift Japan, instead of just being able to see them as two separate countries. So, there's literally like a whole market for it. You can easily get subscribers, easily get likes, positive comments, views, etc. Making content where you are critiquing Japan, like how I do, does quite the opposite. People don't really want to hear negativity. They get on here on YouTube to have a good time, to feel positive about their idea, or want to travel somewhere, to live somewhere. My goal is not to discourage you, but I want to talk about a different side that people don't normally talk about. Like, you won't see people making TikTok videos, etc., talking about how, actually, you're kind of wrong. Japan isn't really that clean. Actually, you're kind of wrong. It's not the technology, technologically, whatever you want to call it, advanced. People don't want to talk about that. They'd rather talk about Japan is living in the future. Look, you can, I don't know, this machine will clean your nose for, 100 yen. People show weird crap like that. And don't get me wrong, I love that weird stuff too. But not enough to the point where I want to only show you that and then hide the reality, the problems that we face as foreigners being here in Japan. And that's just all a whole other subject. But I find it really interesting because, as I said before in another video, Japan has no problem with insulting your country and telling you what's wrong with your country, what's wrong with your people, and what you should do, and comparing themselves to you and how they're better than you. But people are afraid to do that same thing back to Japan, which I find very interesting. And Japan is not some poor third world country or something. It's literally like the number 3, number 4 country, whatever. It's in the top 5 of most powerful countries. So I find it really interesting that people are really afraid of touching on that topic when Japan does not shy away from it. When Japanese people go to your country, whether you're from Europe or the US, they come back and they have tons of stories to tell you about what they didn't like, what thought was weird, about how your people are rude, too fat, too ugly, too whatever. They will say it how it is. But people try to tiptoe around offending Japan and giving them all these passes and excuses. Oh, they were closed off. All of these dumb crap excuses, which I find really interesting too, because it's like, that excuse only flies for so long, and then you have to think about it. It's like Japan consumes mostly American media, just with subtitles over it. For example, they watch our movies, they listen to our music, and specifically black music and black movies. Very interesting. So, now don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about Baby Boy and whatnot, even though that is available here on Netflix, and I just got to watching it with my husband. But that's a whole nother story. I actually watched it for the first time myself. I never saw it before. I know. Black card revoked. But that's a whole nother story. But yeah, like, they literally watch our stuff. Like, they saw Black Panther, they saw the whole George Floyd situation. They're not oblivious to this stuff. They know about these issues. They know who Michael Jackson is, they know who Prince is. They know, and they love it. They don't just know of it, they love it. Black culture is very, very big in Japan. I'm not talking about the getting a tan and breaking the rules and not doing the norm. Like, I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about legitimate black culture, like street fashion, whatever. That type of stuff is huge. In fact, a lot of them probably know more about black culture, black history than you do as a black person. So, with all of that said, it's like, people keep trying to give a pass, and it's like, no, just call a spade a spade. Some people legitimately just are racist, prejudiced, ignorant, refuse to do research, and don't listen to reason. And another part that also aids into it is not a matter of Japan being closed off, but just gonna keep it real. Sorry for my white viewers here that don't think this way, but there are a lot of racist, prejudiced, Republican, white people that are living here in Japan, and when they get the opportunity to give their 2 cents on things like Black Lives Matter or racial issues in the US, they love to speak negatively on it and twist things to another light in ways that's not quite exactly true. And this comes from somebody that doesn't actually support that organization, but I do support the movement and the cause for it, just not the organization itself. I made a whole video talking about that. I'm not gonna go into that again. So anyway, yeah, it just irritates me so much that I keep seeing people, like, still, to this day, after having been in Japan for 6+ years, people still believe in the same crap. And it's even crazier when I see people that are older than me, and it makes me kind of upset, because, like, I get it, everybody trying to get their coin, but I can't trust people that purposefully mislead people. And I get it, your channel is not saying that there's no bad in Japan, but I feel like if you're going to make a channel where you're trying to advise people on why they should come to Japan and things to do in Japan, you're not giving honest advice if you're not talking about things that actually matter to people and negative things too. You're purposely being misleading. It would be like leaving a review on a product and giving it 5 stars and telling everybody how wonderful the packaging is and how fun it was to use and how easy it was to learn to use, and then you leave out the fact that your item actually broke after a week of use because it was made cheaply. But you technically didn't lie. You didn't say that it was made in a very high quality, expensive way, did you? You just said the packaging looked good. But isn't that misleading? You didn't explain to me that if I buy this product, it's probably going to break down in a couple of weeks. Because I probably wouldn't have bought it. Well, that's how I feel about these channels or, whatever pages where they're encouraging you to come to Japan, telling you all this great positive stuff, but then they leave out information that you kind of need to know when you're making a life decision. And for a lot of people, like, they only have one chance like their entire life where they're able to freely just choose a country they want to live in, study in, work in, whatever, and they probably won't have the money or time to ever do that again, especially if you're a woman. Because for us, having children, most people, yes, it is possible, but most people don't like the idea of having to travel with young children and get reestablished and get comfortable inside of another country. That's hard to do. And if, excuse me, and if you're like me, sorry guys, I gotta take a And if you're like me and, you don't have, a family that has money too, like you really just got lucky, you got into a situation like this, you really, really, really don't want to waste your one shot, your one chance or whatever to be able to stay in a country. Like maybe you would have chose Korea, or maybe you would have chose somewhere in South America, maybe you would have chose somewhere in Europe. Like, you don't want to waste your time and money somewhere knowing that there are problems and things that, you could have easily avoided had you learned about this before you came to this country. And so, of course, there's plenty of information that you will not be able to read about online. Everyone has different situations, and that's part of what even encouraged me to make my own channel. I thought about all the things that I wanted to learn about and see that I didn't see. Like, literally, when I came to Japan, I promise you, I did not have the idea in my mind, like, to make journals like this, where I'd be, like, going off like a plan. That was not my idea. My mindset for making journals was, I wanted to share what was going on in my day-to-day life, to basically encourage people to come to Japan by showing them this is what happens in my day-to-day life, this is how I felt about this is what I did, this is what I tried. That's what I want my channel to be. And then I realized, oh my god, there's all this secret hidden shit that nobody talks about. And for some things, people just haven't experienced. It's a unique experience to myself. And I thought I want to share this with other people and help people not feel like they're alone if they're going through stuff that I have gone through. And also be like some insight, because some people have no interest in ever moving here, but they're interested to see what is life like for a black woman living abroad in Japan. So that's what my goal is to cater towards. I'm not trying to make some anti-travel Japan, don't go to Japan content. That is not my purpose. I've been living here for nearly a decade. If I hated Japan so much, I wouldn't be here myself, and I would make videos literally titled "Do Not Go to Japan." I don't do that though. But I will say, if you're not someone that is willing to assimilate, to learn, to read, to learn to write another language, to think in another language, then yes, I would say that Japan is not a good place for you to go to, because Japan is unlike the US, and a lot of people have to understand that. And I'll make another video about that. But I literally just got through reading a comment for a review for a restaurant I wanted to go to, and this person literally gave it took off 2 stars or whatever because she felt the staff was rude. Because get this, the staff didn't ask her if she enjoyed her food. They just asked if, they only answer questions if she wanted to order more food. That is a prime example of people that shouldn't be coming to Japan. This person was just here to visit, but it just blows my mind. It's the fact that you spent thousands of dollars to arrange not only for your airfare and for travel and everything, but this is a very expensive restaurant, I might add. But they spent hundreds of dollars to eat at this restaurant, at least $500. You spent that much money to eat here, and you don't even understand the culture of the country again. It just blows my mind. Wow. And she took it as the staff being rude, and it's no, that's standard in Japan, because when people aren't working for tips, they don't give a shit about whether you enjoyed the food or not. They assume you enjoyed it because you're not complaining about it. And honestly, if you complain about it, they kind of wouldn't give a shit. It's a cultural difference. People don't normally complain about food. Oh, this wasn't hot enough, or whatever. And plus, let's be real. In a normal restaurant in the US, and this person was from America, do you normally say anything besides, oh, the food is great, or oh, it's good, or whatever? They're not going to give you a discount if you didn't like it in most circumstances. Sometimes you actually can get a discount in the US, but that's a whole other story. So it just blows my mind that people do so little research, and that even nowadays the media in different countries are reinforcing these same stereotypes. But you don't see Japan doing that for other countries. In fact, the only stereotype Japan will reinforce other countries are the bad ones. For example, if there's a news study or article about obesity in the US, Japan will be the first to say, oh yeah, Americans known for being extremely overweight, they're dying of hamburgeritis. They'll make an article titled something like that. But in the US, we make articles titled super technologically advanced Japan, does X, Y, and Z, something, that's not really that special, or something that is really special, but it's yeah, their university is studying this, but this is not being implemented in regular day-to-day life. For example, showing robots and crap. Not gonna lie, it does fascinate me, and I do enjoy seeing it. I take videos of it, and I will share videos of it in the future here on YouTube. Not gonna lie to you. But I will also be real. These things are not normal things you see at a normal restaurant in Japan. You normally see these places that have robots are normally touristy restaurants, and typically cheap food. Ironically, you would think it'd be an expensive restaurant that would implement robots, but nope. Cheap family restaurants normally have them. Are they cool? Yes. I enjoy it every fucking time I see it. I've only been in a restaurant that had a robot, I think, 3 times in total. But with that said, yeah, it's cool. I'm not gonna lie. But at the same time, it's they're presenting it this is normal everyday life in Japan, and it's not. Just those convenience stores where there's no cashier. That has not become a normal thing here. Yeah, it can in the future. It can in the future, probably will. But it's not a thing here yet. In fact, you're more likely to find more of this stuff in the US than you are in Japan. But they don't want you to see that side of it. So yeah, it's when we talk about Japan, we highlight how wonderful, great, futuristic it is. But when they highlight our countries, like for example, that baby, that little toddler that had that, you know what, and could have hurt somebody with it. They had that all over the news here. Baby wields you know what, and they couldn't help but to show. I'm saying it because of YouTube. You know what I'm talking about. Gun. Baby had that weapon in their hand. And so they couldn't wait to tell, oh, look at these Americans, so dangerous. Is this normal? Americans just let their babies run around with... Like, how many of you all know, besides black people, how many of you, even with black people, okay, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make jokes. I was just kidding. But anyway, yeah, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, they make it seem like anything that's a stereotype is completely normal in the U.S., like, this is just normal. Our babies are born holding these things in their hands. Everybody is just 600 pounds. And I find it really interesting that we're afraid to say anything. We don't talk about, like, Japan struggling with, SUI, struggling with this specific mental health issue. We don't make articles titled this. We either sympathize with what's going on in Japan, or we praise it for doing something positive. But it seems like anytime Japan is talking about another country, it's always to make themselves feel better about themselves. Look at this battle going on in the US. Look at how safe and wonderful Japan is. Look at how disgusting and greedy these foreign people are. But look at how thin and healthy Japanese people are. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure. And I say that somebody's overweight themselves. Okay, sure, we can look at it that way. But how about we talk about the fact that you literally have women starving themselves and men. Literally, I've dated and befriended people that will refuse to eat food, or when they do eat, they'll just eat white rice and they'll just have like some miso soup or whatever to avoid gaining weight or, calories, etc. People believe in it by drinking like these special little carbonated drinks. It stops them from like getting the grease or whatever from their food. It's just so many like weird little things. Like, this is not healthy. And the fact that women don't even exercise in this country, and it's not because they're afraid of men looking at them inside of gyms. They literally are just fucking lazy. Their way of losing weight is starving themselves. That's literally what women do. Women do not work out here at all. Like, you rarely see it. And when women do work out, it's typically just walking or running. Girls don't lift weights. They don't do workout programs and any type of crap. But normally when girls do it, it's girls that have no interest in men and that just do this as a hobby because they're bored and or they just want sexual attention, because let's keep it real. You do get attention at gyms, and nobody wants to say it because it's not politically correct, and it's for a whole other video. But yeah, a lot of times girls do go to the gym for that reason. They want that male attention. And boys do the same thing. Men go to the gym to show off to the couple of girls that are there. Like, it's really rare to see women at the gym. Way more rare than the US. That's all another story. So yeah, I'm done with this rant. Just wanted to say, like, I find it really interesting that Japan can never just stay on topic with their own crap. This is your issue. Stop comparing yourself to the US. They did this even when Abe got, when that happened to, former Prime Minister Abe. And it's like, instead of just focusing on the fact that your own people got rid of your own Prime Minister, the blame and focus and shift is, not even blame, but kind of blame. Oh, why is this video even available online on YouTube? Oh, those Americans, if they didn't allow this content, this would have never happened because he learned how to put it together because of YouTube. Instead of just blaming your own culture of not talking about mental health issues, instead of just blaming your own person, your country allowed this video to be visible. You can ban certain content to be available per country. YouTube does have restrictions like that. And on top of that, it's like, okay, let's say that was entirely true. Why are you all comparing what would have happened in the US? So when somebody jumps off of the Golden Gate Bridge or whatever, do we say that something would have happened in, fuck it, I'm gonna say it, Suicide Forest? Do we say that? Like, something would have happened in Japan? How ignorant. Like, you see what I'm trying to say? And nobody talks about it. And so again, I would even be more understanding if Japan was some poor third world country. But Japan is on par with the US. They're both super developed countries. They're both rich countries. This is not some poor, middle of nowhere country, no name on a map. And it's even crazy to me when I see other foreigners do it. And then I kind of don't even mind so much. I'm going to contradict myself. I find it more bothersome when I see other Americans do it. But I will contradict myself and say that I do understand, like, for the people hating on the outside because they can't even get in. A lot of foreigners living in Japan aren't here because they want to be here. It's just easier to get to Japan than it is to get to the U.S. by far. Especially by yourself, through legal means, without having to get married, get knocked up, and having a baby. That's the reality. Nobody wants to talk about that. But for a lot of people, Japan is not really their dream. It's just another good country, good option of a place to come to, and very safer than the U.S. But not better. Just gonna keep it real. Even Japanese people don't think their country is better. Overall, most people that are Japanese that do choose to stay here, even when given options, because they feel more comfortable here, because Japan is all they've ever known, and it feels really uncomfortable just keeping it real, to be in a place where nobody's the same race as you, even for myself, even though I've been here for years. But I have a very unique experience. I'm always a minority. I've been a minority my entire life. I was born and raised in a country where I was a minority, so coming here really doesn't feel that damn different. It's different at times, don't get me wrong, but ultimately the only difference is people don't know how to deal with seeing me, whereas in the US they're used to seeing black people. They're just like, oh my god, a black person near me, but at least you see them on TV, you've driven through neighborhoods where they exist, whereas in Japan most people don't even have the opportunity to drive by one, yet alone see one in real life, and even seeing them on TV is not all that often. And when you do see them on TV, it's not normally a black American person or a black American woman, especially since I'm not affiliated with the military in any way, shape, or form. But that's a whole nother story. So yeah. I'm done. I'm just so annoyed by that. It's like, please keep Japan issues about Japan. Stop dragging the US into this crap. And on top of that, please stop believing all those little stupid stereotypes. Japan is actually a very dirty place. Let me give you guys some information for those who don't know, that do not know about this. Sorry, I'm stuttering. Japan does not use hot water in most public areas. That includes restaurants. There's normally no option to wash your hands with hot water. Soap is also usually not available either. And even when both of those things are available, people normally either, one, don't wash their hands, or two, they skip either using the hot water or they skip using the soap, one or the other. Yeah, go figure. Not to mention, another big reason why toilets normally aren't seen nasty, clogged up, etc. is because in most circumstances, toilets have an auto-flush feature. That's getting rid of the possibility of a toilet being left with crap clogged up inside of it. Yeah. And also, I can't prove this part, but I believe the toilets in Japan are also, I think they have thicker pipes, because even at home, I've never really had a situation where my toilet got clogged. Ever. It just doesn't happen. So, again, just keeping it real with you right there. And not to mention that bathrooms normally also have the ability for you to use alcohol cleaners to clean the seat on your own too when you're getting ready to use it. And people are generally more considerate by leaving a bathroom in a better situation or condition than in the US. I'll be honest and real about that, and there are cool things about bathrooms in Japan. I've talked about them. Not gonna hate on that, but just keeping it real. There are reasons why. And these are things that nobody will talk about. It's not because Japanese people are just so clean. Their janitors normally use the exact same dirty ass mop that's never been actually cleaned. Yes, I said that. Mops and stuff in Japan don't normally get properly cleaned. They will replace the mop water, etc. But actually, like replacing a mop or changing a towel, they'll literally use the exact same rack to clean everything in a bathroom. Everything. From the toilet seats, to the handles, to the bars, to the sink, everything. And oftentimes, just one spray, one or two little spritzes, and wipe everything. They do not overuse product at all. In fact, they underuse it by far. I would not call that clean by any means. Especially when you're dealing with people that are preparing your food with no gloves. That's a really shocking thing to see. Don't get me wrong, as somebody that loves to cook, I know it's much easier to cook and handle food with your bare hands. But when you're dealing with people that don't even use hot water or soap, and oftentimes have to be begged to wash their hands, and when they do wash their hands, it's from a little flick, done. Anybody living in Japan can agree with what I'm saying. And if you don't agree with me, you are an effing liar. This is not just my boyfriend. Listen, while I'm married, I'm telling you from personal experience. Most Japanese people, by far, it is a cultural difference. It's not me being racist or prejudiced or a hater. I've lived here for a long time. I'm speaking facts. And it's not just Japan. It's Asians, period. Because I learned this from living inside of a share house. At first, I thought my roommates were just dirty, nasty ass people. And I realized, oh, my roommates, who are not even Japanese, from various Asian countries such as Malaysia, Korea, China, Hong Kong, none of them wash their hands. And then I noticed, okay, fast forward, going to university, even going to work, did my coworker just come out the bathroom, flush, and I heard no water. Okay, maybe she's just dirty. No, everywhere I go. I've dated people that didn't want. I've literally had people that I've invited over my house, and I had to ask them to go to the bathroom again to wash their hands like I'm their mother. Okay? And you all are debating over the fact that you're blown away that somebody would dare do something unsanitary and dirty in a restaurant. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that's a whole nother, field realm or whatever. But since, what does that have to do with Japan being clean? Someone being dirty and choosing to be unsanitary and eat sushi off of a plate and lick on soy sauce bottles, that calls for Japan, known for being super clean and super perfect. Just say this dirty ass person in Japan did this nasty ass shit. We don't have to talk about stereotypes. But now that you brought it up, let me debunk this crap, because it's not true, and Japan ain't ever gonna debunk it because they believe it's true. They're so used to hearing lies and praise about themselves, they think it's true too. Which is also why whenever I meet Japanese people, like, for the first time, they love to ask my views and opinions on Japan. Like, normally they want to highlight and focus on the fact that Japan doesn't, because they know about the police issues in the U.S., which is why I sit there playing and pulling your leg when they play dumb about racism issues, etc. They know exactly what that crap means. They think their police are better because they don't go around you-know-whatting you with them. It's like, yeah, y'all just don't have access to weapons. If they gave Japanese police that crap, they do the same thing. They already use the same excuses for trying to question you and car you. And I ain't gonna lie, I've been lucky here. I've never been approached by a police officer asked to show, my passport or anything else. But I know other people that have had that experience. That's one thing I will say about myself. I ain't that damn ignorant. Just because something ain't happened to me, I ain't gonna pretend like it ain't gonna happen to you or that it doesn't happen to other people. I can just say that I'm grateful that it hasn't happened to me. I've not had to experience that, and I've lived in various cities for the past 6-7 years now. So with that said, yes, you guys just don't have the access to those things. If you were given it, yeah, you probably would too. But I forgot what I was getting at, you guys. Anyway, long story short, yeah, it's not relevant. It's a dumb stereotype. And yeah, sorry, but even though you guys think that your country doesn't have these issues, they do. And I have had to deal with the police. And every time I did, it always came down to racist issues and comparisons between my country and, theirs being Japan. And beyond issues between comparing my country, to Japan, etc. I just find it really, really interesting that, for some strange reason, they really don't feel that their people are capable of doing anything wrong. And every time something bad happens, it's find a way to blame it on a foreign concept. So, okay, this person built this weapon. They got it from an American. Okay, this happened in Japan. It seems like this should have happened in the U.S. Can we stop talking about the U.S.? Just focus on the fact that your country has issues. It's your country. America does not compare their Golden Gate Bridge issues or people, doing whatever because they failed a test to what goes on in Korea or Japan over the same crap. And it's probably actually a realistic situation. Probably did get inspired from seeing the crap that goes on in your country. We don't say that though, so why the hell are y'all saying this about us? That's just so fucking weird to me. So I forgot what I was getting at to you guys. I was making a point. I was talking about the whole whatever situation, but I'm just aggravated. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm done. I can go and rant about this. I said that 50 times. So please leave a comment down below if you know what I'm talking about. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's not a matter of trying to say, oh, the U.S. is perfect. Don't say anything bad about the U.S. I have no problem getting on the U.S. about their dirt. But what I will say is this. Please, please, please understand this. Let problems that deal with Japan stay with Japan. We're not talking about the U.S. We're talking about Japan. Also, a lot of the times, the stereotypes that you all believe are really stupid, outdated, and simply never were true to begin with. Japan has never really been... Maybe in the 70s they had better technology, possibly. Maybe even in the 90s. But sorry, fast forward to 2000s and up, Japan is very much indeed behind in everything. I'm not just talking about the politically correct type of stuff with the way that you treat people, but I'm talking about even as far as technology goes. A lot of people have these backwards, old-fashioned ideas, for example, even believing for people that have yellow fever, as they call it, and being obsessed with the idea of dating a Japanese woman, and even women that want to come here because they like Japanese men. And sorry for anybody that thought they were on my side of, but I do not support fetishized relationships, etc. And a lot of people think, because nobody inside of an interracial relationship or that likes people of a different race will ever say that they have a fetish. People always say that they're the exception to the rule. Nothing wrong with dating outside your race. It's a whole other video, but it will be real. A lot of people do date outside the race because they do have a fetish, whether it be a disliking for your own race secretly or an obsession with wanting to have biracial children, and or because you expect certain traits, personalities, whatever, from out of your partner based off of their race, when in reality, you don't really like your partners, as a person. You like them because of their race, and you would probably date anybody or most people simply because they're the same race as who your desirable your desired, or whatever you want to call it, partner is. So that's a whole other topic. I made a whole video talking about that before. Now I can get into that. That's between you and Jesus. You ain't got to prove your relationship or your partner or anything else to me. I'm just telling you my thoughts on that. So I'm not getting into that part of it, but I will say that I feel like a lot of people, they don't want to believe that Japan has any problems or that people have any problems, and then they end up looking stupid when they go through a divorce, because you see that all the time. People, I talked about this in another video, people will brag about, sorry, my phone just went off. People will brag about how wonderful Japanese women are, how they're so much better, they're thin, they're submissive, this and the other, and it's like, okay, yeah, have fun with that. Then you see them 3 years or 5 years, sometimes even 10 years later, inside of a forum, crying about how their Japanese wife is so horrible, and she's gonna charge him $100,000 for a divorce. I'm not even exaggerating with the stuff, and how they can't see their children. You can literally go on, you're on YouTube already. Do a search on YouTube. You can literally watch an entire documentary full of white men that ran off to Japan, got themselves a Japanese wife, and their Japanese wife came to the US. Their wife ran back to Japan, labeled their husband as abusive, bad, etc. Now their man has their legal husband, because they never, in most circumstances, never really got a divorce. Their husband, or their child's father at the very least, has no access to see their children, doesn't even know their address. They ran off to Japan. Now, how bogus and unfair is that? This is the same submissive, humble, perfect Japanese woman that you wanted so bad. And same thing goes with Japanese men. Plenty of foreign girls come here and have this dream idea of being married to a Japanese man. And what happens? They get a divorce. Men do it too. You don't hear about it as often, but they do it just as much. Their man runs off with their child, kidnaps their children from them. You never get to see your babies again. And beyond just that, you're left with nothing. In a lot of these circumstances, these men don't leave you a dime. You spend all this time playing housewife for them, and you don't get a penny out of it. They divorced you. They moved on. You are left with nothing. A lot of these women end up inside of abusive relationships, etc. So it's like, running off with somebody based off of stereotypes, marrying them because of stereotypes, because you believe they're going to act and behave a certain way, is pretty damn stupid. But I understand people do it. It's a lot of misinformed people. People are really angry at their parents, angry at their friends. They want to get revenge. They want to improve people. They want to improve their lives. And then they're just hurting themselves in the end. And so I say all of this to bring it back to this. People believe these dumb stereotypes about how clean and perfect Japan is. And when they see Japan do stuff that, hey, very similar to people in your country do, or very disturbing, dirty, messed up things, people are so shocked and mind blown. And it's like, Japan is not changing. You're just now finally hearing and finding out about real Japan instead of fantasy funland. Look at how cool Japan is. Look at this vending machine. Look, the Japanese people are so perfect. Look to Tommy Floyd's. You see all of this crap. Oh, look, matcha. Oh, look, McDonald's Japan. You see all of this recycled, rehashed material over and over again. People just trying to get views, get likes, which is cool. I watch this stuff too. I just took a video of a fucking ramen vending machine the other day. I ain't blaming it. But I'm not blaming them for making the content. I enjoy it. I film it too. But I will say, like I said, when this is all you consume, you start to think, wow, Japan is this wonderful, perfect, safe, cushiony bubble land where you think nothing bad can happen. Everyone here is a rocket scientist, super smart, not necessarily friendly, but really nice, really polite, and none of that stuff is true. Even with the politeness, a lot of what people think is polite is just in formality. For example, it's like thinking that Americans are, and some people do think this. As an American, you'll laugh at this. Keep this in mind. There are a lot of people in Europe that think Americans are friendly because two things. One, we compliment strangers. Hey, that's a really nice shirt. Hey, I like those shoes. Two, because unlike in other countries, we ask, how are you, when we're talking to someone, even if we don't give a fuck how you are. It's just out of formality. If you actually tell me how you are, you're going to make me uncomfortable. If you say anything besides, oh, really good. I don't care that your cat died, and my cat just died too. I don't care that you got a divorce. I don't care that your leg broke, that you just lost your job, that you got a toothache. I don't want to hear any of that crap. I'm just saying it to be polite. In fact, I recently stopped asking it, and then I have people ask, tell me how they are themselves. As a sarcastic way of saying, well, I should have asked. Because I don't give a shit. Find another way to keep the conversation going. So you see what I'm trying to say? It's just out of formality. We're not asking because we really care about you so much and we're such wonderful, kind people in America. No, it's just formality. Simple as that. I remember working at Old Navy in Chicago on State Street, and I literally had a Canadian customer come in, her and her mother, and they were telling me how wonderful of experience I had in Chicago and how friendly Americans were, and they really liked me because I seemed so polite, and I asked them how they were. And, bitch, I'm trying to get y'all hoes to sign up for an Old Navy credit card, okay? I don't give two. I wish I had the money you had to just go across the border and go shopping for Christmas. I don't give a fuck how you are. As sweet as you and your mother are, I don't care. I'm trying to make my day. I'm a minimum wage worker, okay? I'm working in a racist ass area, excuse me, downtown Chicago, where they only putting up with me because I'm working for them, and they getting out black dollars. They don't care about me. I don't care about you. I'm just here to get paid. I'm saying it to be polite as a part of my job. Japanese people do the exact same thing. all the little bows and welcome to our story, crap. They don't give a crap about you. It's just out of formality. They don't care about you. It's just their culture. So seeing people, oh, Japan is so polite, they have such utmost respect, you're misunderstanding what's going on. They're doing it because it's a cultural difference. It's no different than when you go into the store, welcome to Walgreens, welcome to Walmart. You don't follow me, oh my god, Americans are so polite. So that's what you sound like when you all do that crap when y'all come here to Japan. Bowing does not have the same meaning that it does in English. For us, bowing is a sign of royalty, honor. Oh my god, you're bowing to me. You think I'm so special. I'm a, a priority customer. It has none of that meaning in Japan. They oftentimes apologize to avoid confrontation. They're not saying sorry because they feel bad. They're saying sorry because they're afraid you were going to get upset. Have y'all seen what rush hour is like here? People pushing and brushing all up into you. You would never do that in the U.S. It'd be seen as rude. But in Japan, if you're in a rush, it's acceptable to push people, etc. So it's all a whole nother story. All I gotta say is this. It's a lot of misunderstanding. And people believe anything they see online. And even people like trying to make clickbaity articles like the BBC and, whatever. I don't know if I meant ABC News. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like anything like this. People like to make news articles in which it praises Japan, even in their most disgusting, messed up situations, where they're so shocked a Japanese person could do this. I have yet to see a single article that made worldwide news talking about Japan using fax machines, Japan with their child kitten. They'll talk about even their rates, their forest rates, suicide forest rates, etc. They'll talk about that stuff before you hear them talk. They rarely talk about the issue with child kidnappings and divorce, etc. It gets way less attention. The sexist stuff here at work gets way less attention. Blows my mind. And you want to be upset about the Me Too movement in the U.S., but trust me, in Japan, it's a whole other animal. Where if you don't believe in crap in the U.S., you would in Japan. There's some really messed up stuff here. There's messed up laws too. You can't even speak about stuff. So I'll get into that on a whole other day, a whole other video. I'm done with this video. I made this almost an hour long, so I need to get back to handling my business, cooking, cleaning. But yeah, I'm so frustrated by all of that. So please do your research on Japan. Japan is not this perfect, super clean, super wonderful place like you're thinking that it is. It's not a horrible place, but it's not as clean as you're thinking it is. People are not as nice as you think they are. They're not as polite as you think they are either. And yeah, a lot of the crap you believe about Japan simply isn't true. It doesn't have some super futuristic technology type crap. None of that stuff is real. And a lot of stuff you see even on Instagram, and trust me, I have a lot of stuff bookmarked and saved that I want to look at and go to later. I love watching. It's nice to watch lighthearted, fun videos. That's not what I'm getting at. But I will say, a lot of these people, they don't really care about your experience in Japan. They care about getting followers, getting likes, making money. They only want to show you positive things. And for that reason, I have to say, well, if you only show people positive things, you're being misleading. I gave the example of the 5-star review. You can leave a 5-star review and be honest. The packaging was wonderful. But if you don't tell me about how crappy the product was, you're kind of lying to me, are you not? You're misleading me. Because of course people will buy stuff because they thought that it was a wonderful product in and out. Because you left out the part that it's going to fall apart in a couple of weeks. Now I might have decided, was it really worth to spend that much money? Should I have saved it and bought something else? So, it's whatever. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please leave your 2 cents down below. Guys, let me know what you think about this. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Leave a comment if you have not already. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Upload videos talking about living in Japan. Talk about work, living, dating, studying. Just about everything you could think of. Dealing with Japan. I have playlists on just about everything as well. So if you have a question, I probably already answered it. But if I have not made a video about your topic, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Or you can send me an email. My email address and social media links are all in the description box. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. I have a Snapchat and a TikTok at Comic the Savior, a Facebook fan page at Comic95 the Savior, and a website at Comic95.com. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for watching, and I hope you'll watch another video. Bye.